Facts over feelings. Let's just stick to the facts. Let's stick to the facts. Stick to the facts, man. That's all people have to do. Stick to the facts. It's almost akin to the truth. Just the facts here, though, man. Like, and why I like to stick to the facts is because that's pretty much a firm stance that doesn't get swayed either way. The pendulum does not get swayed because you're dealing with the facts. The facts are that Bitcoin is a crypto. Some people regard it as a commodity. Well, people meaning government bodies regard crypto as a commodity. Why, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. Bitcoin is something that institutions are buying. They're buying for every one Bitcoin. They're paying 1.1 for the Bitcoin right now. Who's they? Grayscale, for example. It's going to come a point where there won't be any Bitcoin for people to amass one whole Bitcoin. There won't be enough. And I think, I almost want to say that I fear that day is coming sooner than we think. Because at the rapid pace that you have private companies buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of BTC and holding them, not selling them, not trading them, simply holding them, is a sign, a telling sign to let people know where the future is headed. I said this in my last video, and I cannot emphasize it enough. These companies are not talking about Polkadot. These companies are not talking about Chainlink. These companies are not talking about these other platforms that people... You know what's crazy? You know, Bitcoin, they say that Bitcoin solved the Byzantine fault aspect or theory, and Ethereum sort of, spawned from Bitcoin because, of course, Vitalik was part of the Bitcoin community initially, did his work on the blockchain, or, contributed initially, but he created Ethereum, where people can actually build on top of that blockchain. The Ethereum network introduced the first smart contract concept to the world. Everything else outside of that, like all these other projects try to sort of mimic or duplicate what these blockchains are doing. How many times have we heard that because a new blockchain has a faster way to scale or to conduct transactions, and that they will become the next Bitcoin or the next Ethereum? How many times? Within, let's say, the last year. We're not even going to go back 9 years, 10 years. We're just going to go back within the last year. How many times have we heard these accounts, these statements? But yet, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why you have all these developments that are taking place that are trying to mimic Bitcoin. Why do you think Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Satoshi Vision has not gotten or received the level of attention that Bitcoin as we know it has. Why do you think these other smart contract blockchains have not gotten the attention that Ethereum has? Now, these are just, it's right here, it's sitting, it's just right in front of our face, but people refuse to accept it for whatever reason. I'm not saying that these other coins are garbage. The money that's out here is not the millions and millions and millions of dollars that are being bought up from Bitcoin are not buying Tron, are not buying Stellar Lumens, are not buying Lisk. Okay? They're not buying these coins. They're not. I don't hear Fidelity. I don't hear Fidelity talking about VeChain. No shot to VeChain. But I don't hear about them. I don't hear about these ancient, old, and even these new. Stone Ridge out of nowhere just picked up $115 million worth of Bitcoin this week, it was reported. Again, when these companies start to amass a certain percentages of ownership of this blockchain, the rest of the world will be left to scramble just to acquire fractions of these coins. Ethereum is getting locked up. Bitcoin is getting locked up. Bitcoin is getting locked up on top of Ethereum. And when you have other projects that profess, like Polkadot, that's professing now to create its own wrapped Bitcoin type of thing, type of protocol, whatever, you're copying, they're just mimicking what's already been laid out. You know what I mean? Like there's something that's new. There's been no Bitcoin before Bitcoin. There's been no Ethereum before Ethereum. Every other project just appears to be copying what they've done. And when you're talking about privacy that's about to be layered on top of Bitcoin protocol, well, I thought Dash was the first one that came from Bitcoin that introduced privacy. But are people really going after Dash? You know what I mean? We just have to keep things in a certain perspective. And I'm saying people, and I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about these big corporations, again, that are buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. And some are even buying into the whole wrap BTC thing and locking their Bitcoins on top of Ethereum with the hopes that phase 0 launches, phase 0 of 2.0 launches for Ethereum. Not these other blockchains. That is because, and you know I love Ethereum, that is because Bitcoin, there's nothing else like Bitcoin. So when the developer of the IND smart contract had the foresight and the forethought, was blessed to have the vision to see where this is going. And this is a man who is a complete 100% Ethereum advocate, and took the time to look at what's going on in the space and introduce wrapped BTC to a new contract. It's a new contract, same code, a solid code. Why people are not just flocking to it, it's going to be, you see, the future is going to unfold everything. That's all I'm going to say, really. The last 2.5 years captured what the first contract did for the Ethereum space and for all the participants who have been and who are still holders of that token. The last 2.5 years, first year 800%, 7 year or 600%. Up to this point right now, well over 800%. APY, like this whole, people, these terms that come up, right? APY. There was no rug pull. These folks are so creative. Talk about these terms, rug pull coin, APY coin. But it's centered around the blockchains that are seemingly solid, seemingly grabbing the attentions, I'm saying, adding S to the word attention, seemingly grabbing the attention from companies, from individuals, but more so companies. This is more than just about one or two people, millionaires or so forth, who are buying up the Bitcoin. No, these are companies, private. And when I tell you the wrap BTC contract and even the other minuscule projects that give minuscule percentage rates a year are trying to also help people earn crypto, they're giving you a chance. They're giving you a chance because, you see, this is about the transference of wealth. It's not financial advice, but we're talking about the transference of wealth. Folks can't see past their face. We're talking about the transference of wealth. There's a wealth gap. We know this. Or those who don't know, there's a wealth gap that is widening. That is widening in the secular world. And it's widening at an exceedingly high rate right now in the cryptocurrency space, at a scary rate. If this continues 6 months from now, we're going to feel the temperature, the pulse of the street. And people, when the price starts to increase, because this is about math, this is about simple supply and demand. This is about logic here. But see, in crypto, people like to operate from irrationality. People like to operate from the perspective of what's illogical. They get all riled up and emotional and then just continue to make bad choices and make mistakes and poor decisions and lose. When this is the time, while everything is quiet, while everything is seemingly quiet, during the middle of a pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it, this is the time to get in where you fit in, because soon you won't be able to get in anywhere close to where you could have got in now. Anywhere close. I remember when Warren Buffett acquired Coca-Cola in the late 80s on the cheap, because this was after Black Monday. The stock market crashed October 19th, 1987. That caused a panic, a rift through the New York Stock Exchange and the stock market. That old man who calls himself the Oracle of Omaha bought up $50,000 worth of shares of Coca-Cola for 30 days after that stock plummeted due to that crash. He became mega rich after that, where every 3 months the man receives a $200 billion dividend check. Just off the dividends. Not price appreciation. It just goes to tell you, it just goes to show you. He bought it on the cheap. He saw something. He saw Coca-Cola wasn't going anywhere. He bought it on the cheap while everyone was panicking. While everyone was afraid, scared, selling low, buying high, all that hysteria. He bought on the cheap. History repeats itself and it also rhymes, but this is that moment. This is that moment where, and it's not even about getting into the new wrap BTC contract or not. For those who are into crypto, look at what's what lies in front of us. Take a moment to step outside of the short-term rewards and look at the long-term gains that could be had. And think about where this is going. There are people who are heavily into crypto and they have, the complete right to get into whatever they want to get into. But watch and look at what's going on, what these companies are doing with Bitcoin. Look at what they're doing with Ethereum. People are looking at Bitcoin now and saying, oh no, it's too expensive, 11,000 such and such dollars. Who has that? Nobody can afford that. It crashed. It went up to 20,000 and it dropped to 3,100 and it crashed and it's no good. And what kind of investment is that? And no, it's not worth it. It's garbage. What is it good for? Etc. etc. This is the time. This is what they were saying about Coca-Cola in the late 80s. 89, 87, 88. This is what they were saying about Coca-Cola. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. You're talking about quote unquote smart money. Buying up all the Bitcoins that they can buy. Again, for every one that's available, they are buying 1.1. See, people can't forget to understand what math is. They don't care about math. They just want to get rich today, right now. They don't know that math was here before creation was even a thing. They don't, In other words, this is not financial advice, but people are buying into the math. People are buying the math. Because that math works. And it's undeniable. And it's a bit frightening because the separation between the haves and have-nots, the gap that causes that separation, the gap that is created due to the separation is widening. And people can't see that now. They can't see that now's the time to pretty much equalize the odds. Now is the time to even the playing field, to level up and literally give yourself a chance, a competitive advantage against those who are not hesitating. They don't want you. They don't want you to have what they have. There's a reason for that. Open your eyes. See what's going on. Take the time. Read. Look around. Study. Jump in, different, just get the information. It's out there. The information is out there, and the information is free, but yet so powerful. So powerful. You want to go buy those red bottom shoes and say that you can't afford a fraction of a Bitcoin because you want to go buy those red bottom shoes? Are those red bottom shoes going to give you those Christian Louboutin shoes, or the Hermes bag, or that nice shiny new whip, or Porsche or Mercedes? Are those material items going to feed you for decades to come?